I know Lego, when they studied the problem of trying to build projects that would appeal to both boys and girls, they ended up with a huge failure. So they came to the conclusion that you have to focus on one group or the other. Any thoughts, Isla, about how we make this gender neutral?
Yeah. Well, I think that, there's this new app on the App Store. It's called Trivia Crack. And it's like a game where there's like different categories and like you spin a wheel, and depending on like where like the arrow goes to, then you answer questions based on that category. So I was thinking we could do something like that where we have multiple categories that would appeal to both genders. So, I mean, there'd be like an entertainment one, like an academic. So, like, ask questions about like science and like history, questions like that. There'd be like an art one, like a sports one, so that both girls and boys could be satisfied. So, I mean, I know some girls like sports, but typically it's like more of like a boy kind of thing, like to be really into it. But like entertainment, like music and like movies, like it's kind of boys and girls. And same with like, I mean, obviously academics. Like some girls are better at certain like subject, but I think it's commonly like a good way for both genders to be like involved, and like art is kind of like the same.
Okay. I get the general idea that we should have many categories and then of questions, and then boys and girls can choose which categories they're interested in, or it could be a random thing. Okay, cool. David, do you want to chime in with some of your thoughts over the week before we hand off to Jacob?
Well, I think sort of Trivia Crack would be a good idea, except for the fact that everyone would know we'd be copying off of Trivia Crack because it's so popular. So okay. I think if we're going to use an idea that's already been done, we need to change it significantly so it doesn't look like we're just copying off of them.
Yeah. Good thought. Good thought.
There's something to be said for not reinventing the wheel, but stealing another person's wheel is just as bad.
Yep. We want to improve on what they've done and make it our own angle, our own perspective. Good thought. Okay. Jacob, have you had a chance to look at Daniel's solution? Or shall I call it up?
No, go ahead. I have not seen Daniel's solution.
All right, let me share my desktop and I'll show you what Daniel did. Okay, inbox, Daniel, and can you see my desktop? This is Daniel's solution. Can everyone see this? Brent, I'm not reading chat. Can you chime in if I'm missing something? Hold on a second. Okay, great. So I guess Daniel said he doesn't have the easy version done yet, just the timed version. So game starts in 5 seconds. So then it says, what does build it yourself stand for? Build it yourself. Spider have 6 legs or 8 legs? 8. Oh, I got 2 already. Build it yourself. So there's only 4 questions, so they repeat, but it's a random generator. Isaac Newton. Wow, I'm scoring big time here. Ring-a-ding. Let's see if we get a wrong one. 3 legs. So it goes down, the score goes down if you get the wrong answer. Okay, and then if you don't answer at all, I suppose it goes down too. Yep. So if you don't answer in time or you make the wrong answer, it goes down. If you get a right answer, it goes up. So this is just the engine, no graphics, obviously. Any thoughts, Jacob? Shall we look under the covers here?
Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. Looks like he's using Bootstrap. At least or something that looks a lot like Bootstrap. So yeah, let's go ahead and view source here.
Actually, Jacob, it might be better if you, rather than trying to tell me where to go, I sent you an email this morning, and underneath that email.
Okay. I probably haven't checked my email yet this morning. That would be why I didn't.
Okay. Let me. I think it'd be easier for you to give a demo here of what's going on. Unfortunately, Daniel had to take a test today, so.
Okay. I see it now. Okay. Great.
So you have the ball, Jacob.
Okay. Let's share desktop. Okay. So let's have a look. Difficulty and then on timed. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fox says. Okay. And notice your trivia points can go below 1. It looks like.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, which is okay. It just depends on kind of what we want to do. Then I guess we may want to ultimately make a sort of an end condition or way to stop it.
Yeah.
But this is a fantastic start.
Yeah.
Let's look at. I'm going to pull the code behind here in Firebug. Again, Firebug is an extension you do have to download for Firefox. Although you can also, if you use inspect element, I think this brings up your native developer tools, which are almost as good. And I think there are developer tools in just about every browser. You may have to search for them in your options. On Windows machines, it's F12 generally is to bring up developer tools. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, that was a that's a jumbotron. This is Bootstrap, and we can see he has downloaded Bootstrap. Has downloaded jQuery, and looks like he has a CSS file and this would be a custom JavaScript file that he's written, I guess. We can take a look at that too. Okay, looks like he has a pretty easy way to add questions, and we can maybe improve on that too, although I guess this is more of a CSS course than a JavaScript course. We can take a look at that though a little bit later. Okay, he's got the nav bar up top. We've got this this jumbotron, and it looks like he's using divs with class row for each one of these questions. So we may this is good. This is exactly the sort of thing I was hoping we could cover today, was how to make column layouts in Bootstrap and make it responsive. So we will actually borrow some of his, maybe borrow the JavaScript, but change some of this HTML to make it responsive and cool. Okay. Let's really quick. Let's have a look at what's going on with the JavaScript. Okay, this is his interface.js. This is what he called this file.
Excuse me, Jacob. Brent, are you recording this? One thought, Jacob, after we fine tune this, as you say, to make it responsive and what other edits we want to make to the code, what if we guide David and Isla to, download this code on their machine and then make their own version of it, get to understand the code by making edits to the questions, maybe adding some graphics, color, and so forth to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think that's what we'll do is we'll make just a couple changes, or we'll show how we can make a couple changes to the HTML here, and then see if David and Isla can come up with their own solutions. So let's just, for fun, let's take a quick look at this JavaScript code. You see it has, these are what we call click handlers. So he's got an HTML element called easy, and another one with the ID easy and the ID timed, and I'll bet that's what these are. That's what those are. And so when you click the one right now, yeah, easy, he doesn't have anything for yet, but timed, when you click it, a bunch of stuff happens. The timer starts and it counts down. Counts down every second. It decrements, so they have a counter from 5 to 1. That's pretty cool. And then once it hits 0, then all this stuff happens.
Isla and David, can you follow? Is this making sense to you?
Yeah, it makes some sense.
I think once you start editing it, you'll appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always a little tricky to read someone else's code at first, but this is pretty good code. It's not commented, which is okay, for now. It's pretty simple once you start to dig into it.
I think it would, another exercise, Jacob, that we could ask David and Isla to do is to comment it. By documenting what's going on, that will, force David and Isla to understand every bit of the code.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think let's focus today on the HTML though. So what I think what we'll do is I'm going to my editor and let's kind of copy over some of this. First of all, does he have? He doesn't actually. So he has sort of a blank. This style.css is blank for now. This is all default Bootstrap. Excuse me, default Bootstrap styles. So what I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and I think we can just copy over a lot of the source. In fact, it might be easier if I go to view page source instead. And everything inside the body there. Okay. There we go. And that's something that you guys, will be able to do, on your own. This is, this is a public link he has here that we can, what's this in the chat? There we go. So let's have a look at some of this code. I know we haven't. Maybe you guys have seen a little bit of Bootstrap before. Let's see. I think his title was just trivia. Why don't we say BIY trivia title? And then I'm actually going to come over to Bootstrap, getbootstrap.com, and notice they have a CDN. So I'm going to take advantage of the Bootstrap CDN for the style. I also have just a CSS file here that is blank so far. Let me close all this stuff from last week. Okay. So that's a CDN that we have there as links to the Bootstrap CSS, Bootstrap JavaScript. Oh, actually, that's not. Let's make sure we get the CDN for the JavaScript. So the way Bootstrap works, Bootstrap has CSS rules and some JavaScript stuff. It has a little bit of both. There's two different files if you want to use all of Bootstrap. Okay, tell you what, I will, why don't I share, okay, I guess the pasting the link to the chat box didn't work too well. You guys both have it figured out now? If not, I can share this file through. In fact, I might do this anyway. I might share this file through WebEx with you guys. Let's really quick get jQuery as well. jQuery, as a reminder, is sort of this JavaScript. It's a JavaScript library that does a lot of the hard work of JavaScript for us. And let's see, do they list their CDN? There we go. CDN. And we should also get let's see, is there an easy way to save this JavaScript file? I'm not seeing it, so why don't we just copy this? Into a JavaScript file, and I'm going to make a, oops, I guess I have to make a new folder first. For scripts. And he called this interface. We'll just keep the same name. Good enough. Okay.
Excuse me, Jacob. Well, in the interest of giving Daniel some input on what we've changed to his code, anything that you add, can you comment? Added because,
Sure. That's a good point. I will keep a running list, at least, of of changes we've made.
Great.
So we've used CDN, multiple CDNs, one for Bootstrap and one for jQuery. So we'll keep that in mind as we're making changes. I'll make sure it's a good thought, John. Thank you. Okay.
CDN stands for
Content Distribution Network, I think. Don't quote me on that. Effectively, what it is it's a typically some company or nonprofit organization will kind of host a server where they have these where they have files that anyone can use on their website. So you link to that file on their site, and that saves you the trouble of having to download it onto your machine and put it on your server, and so forth. It does mean you do have to kind of trust the CDN. So depending on what you're doing, maybe you would prefer to have it on your own server. But generally, these, especially these big CDNs for Bootstrap and jQuery are pretty reliable.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got that set up. And let's have a look. We're going to have a little bit of a look at sort of some of the Bootstrap stuff he's doing, and then I'll pass it off to you guys to make changes to this. So Bootstrap, in fact, why don't we pull up the actual Bootstrap site here. Has a what we call a grid system, where if you add these particular classes to your HTML elements, they will kind of automatically, because of the styles because of the CSS that Bootstrap has set up, they'll sort of become like a column layout. So you can say, okay, I want this element to have 4 columns and this one to have 6 columns out of a total of 12. So there's always 12 total columns, and you can pick a number out of 12 to set up this column layout. And the cool thing that you can do with Bootstrap, that in itself is pretty cool. But extra cool is that you can specify a particular column layout for different screen sizes. So you can say, well, for a medium-sized screen, I want it to be 8 columns, but for a small-sized screen, I want it to take up all 12. And what we do is, there we go. We can see the column layout has changed a little bit. So here I can make the screen smaller, and we can see this one that's 6 out of 12 that covers half the width on a small screen, but then it'll be 4 on a medium-sized screen. In fact, if we can find it there we go. Yeah. So that's how that works, and Daniel's used a little bit of the column layout here for his buttons that you're clicking to answer the questions. So you can see he's attached a column. Actually, this is the only one he's got here. So that's it takes up 4 columns, and what this class means is that it's offset by 5 columns. So if we look at gonna say, yeah, so here we are. So so this one, actually, I'm not sure that. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there we go. So we can see when we take out that class, it's no longer, that's what we call an offset, where it just kind of pushes it to the right by a certain number of columns. So you can see this one it has 5. This is the second answer here, and it's being pushed over by 5 columns. And if we took that out, it would be all the way to the left. And then this, he just has, this is a 4, it's 4 columns, so it takes up about a third of the space that it could. If we change that to 12, it would take up the whole screen. Let me refresh so that we get rid of that. Okay. And then what he's doing is he's putting each of these answers inside a div with class row. And so row is sort of your top level element when you want to put columns inside of it. And he's tying these, he's tying this column to the medium screen size. So if we do a Control-Shift-M to get a mobile screen size, it actually does. So he actually loses all the styles entirely. So we can fix that. See, everything's all to the left because that offset. So here's my challenge for you guys. Using using a Bootstrap grid, could we, instead of having these answers stacked on top of each other, could we try getting like a grid of 4? I guess that would involve adding a 4th answer, which we can do. Could we add a 4th answer and put them in a layout where we have 2 on the top row and 2 on the bottom row? And maybe when we make the screen smaller, maybe then they would collapse to be just one on top of the other. How about that? So we're thinking like, one, see if I can draw, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and draw what we're talking about here. So we might have, oh, that's yellow. Okay, so we might have one answer, second answer, and pretend these are all the same size. Therefore, in a layout like that, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe we could try a sort of a layout like that when it's a medium screen or bigger, and then it would change to that stacked layout like you had already if we're on a small screen.
Great idea.
Okay, so
That will ensure that we understand how columns and rows are
Yes.
laid out in this.
Yes. And what we'll do, let me go back to my monitor real quick. What we'll have to do, first of all, is you have to make sure that we will not want to give each of these their own row. What we'll do is surely what we'll want to do at first, at least, is get rid of these break lines. Good to avoid break lines whenever possible, not to accomplish break line with with padding or margin or something else. So I'm going to get rid of these rows. So that we have, and then we'll add a. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty out these classes for now. I'll leave the button classes there. Okay. Okay, and you know what? This will be a great example. Later on, we'll use less instead of CSS to do this, and it'll be much. You'll see why it's much easier to use less in some of these scenarios. Okay, so we've just kind of got blank spots for the CSS classes here. So the challenge will be to use Bootstrap grid classes. So that would be these, and you can see examples of what some of these classes are here, and I'll paste this into the chat box. There we go.
Ida, would you be okay with if you share your screen and we'll guide you through setting everything up so you'll be able to make these edits?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I have like a Mac, so I like inspecting like the element for like some of it, and like it didn't come up, but like.
Oh yeah. Let me look up really first. Okay, I'm going to do a couple things. First of all, I'm going to try and share the files with. Or at least that index file. Oh.
David, are you following along pretty well here? Do you think you'll be able to set up what Daniel's done on your machine and make the edits Jacob's proposing?
Yep, I'm working with it right now. So
fantastic.
I guess WebEx doesn't want to let me share an HTML file. It said it's not a supported file format. I could have sworn we had shared HTML files before on here, but that's okay. Maybe I'll try zipping it up, sending it over as a zip file.
Alternative, or in addition, Jacob, I might be stretching too far here, but it would be very interesting to start thinking about putting graphics into this page layout. I wonder if we could challenge David and to change some of the colors and maybe either as a bond or wherever they think it spruces up the look and feel.
Yeah, so I guess WebEx doesn't allow sharing of zip files either. I'll have
Oh,
to.
what good is that?
Yeah. I will try and use Dropbox or maybe Google Drive here to get these files over to you guys. Okay. So in the chat box now is a link. Hopefully that will work. You guys able to get the files through that link there? Right, David, John, Isla, Brent, are you guys able to get the files through that link?
Hold on a second. Brent's
I
trying
can
to
see them. I can see them, but I can't like download them. I don't know why.
It's code from the main website. So I'm just editing the HTML right now.
Okay.
I did change the local files of boot jQuery to a CD though, so that's working.
Okay, yeah, that is kind of odd. It's not.
I actually think I got it. I clicked on the top download.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So this is, yeah, I think it gave it to me. Yeah, it did.
Does anyone know how to make it the mobile screen in Chrome?
It's a good question.
Here we go. I think.
It's not the same in Firefox. It's just Control-Shift-M. I am not sure if there's a similar thing for Chrome or not. Maybe there's an extension you'd have to download.
I'm just moving the little dev toolbar thing to make it work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can just resize the window too if you want to get a smaller screen.
Okay, that worked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep, sure enough. Very cool. You can even select specific devices. Cool. Doesn't have my new Galaxy S. It's too bad. Just have the iPhone 6. That's pretty neat. Thanks, Brent. Okay, so do we have a volunteer to share their screen so we can look at
That sounds like David is pretty well along. Let's try to get Isla up to speed.
Okay.
I can share mine.
Okay, I'm going to pass you the ball.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to open this up before I share.
That was my scratch trivia game sound effect.
Oh.
If you give me a couple of minutes at the end of the class, Jacob, I just want to make a point that at some point we want to focus on the graphics of this game, make it as playful as possible.
Alright, so do you see my desktop? Can you see it?
Sorry, my mic was muted. Yes, we can see it. Great.
Okay. Do you want me to open up? Here's the HTML. I think it looks correct, but I'm not positive.
Yep, very good. Very good. Okay.
This is what we're working, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, and so actually what you have in your browser there is the actual page.
Right here. Do you want me to inspect the element?
Well, yeah. Well, this is the page that's live on the website. Is the way we can look at the. Oh, that's right. It's really difficult to do that on a Mac, though, isn't it? We have to set up a map and everything. Or can you view your HTML file locally on a Mac? Did we figure out how to do that?
Well, I have it here on like a text edit.
Right. But the yeah. Okay. Well, this will work. If we're not able to pull up, if we're not able to like view this file like in a browser after we make changes to it, I guess we can make changes here and we can try sending them over to myself or David until I forgot we need to get you set up with a server so you can develop on Mac here. We'll make sure we get that done maybe beginning of next time. So if we want to make a column layout, we want to add classes.
Right here.
Yeah. So like column dash, and then the size, a dash, and then the number of columns.
Okay. So in that space, how big would we want to make it? Because on here,
yes. So actually, yeah, it's just the letter COL.
because on here it says for making where is it? Like a grid system.
Yep.
It says like right here. Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, stuff like that. And if you scroll even further down, we can see the different sizes. There we go. Okay, so there's the four. There's your four. It says under the row that says class prefix. You can see XS, SM, ME, and LG. So these are our four different sizes. So what we can do is we can say, maybe for a medium-sized screen, we want it to be like 6 columns, would be half the screen. And then for a small screen, maybe we want it to be, I don't know, 8 or 12. So why don't we try adding? Why don't we try doing that to start out with? What if we try putting? Like 6 columns for medium screen. So COL-MD-6. Yep, just like that.
And he'll do that for all of the classes?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Um, so what that will do is, oops. What that will do is that will sort of automatically bump the second two divs to the next line because there's only 12 columns in each line. So that first one takes up 6 columns, the second one takes up 6 columns, and so then the next two are automatically bumped down to the next line. So they take up 6, and then the last one takes up 6.
Should I save it and then check if it changed anything?
Yeah, go ahead. If we're able to open this in Mac, I remember we were having trouble doing that last time. If not, we can look at it on my. See, this is the live site though. This isn't the file that's on your computer. That's like live from.
Should I open it from, like?
Yeah, are you able to open that? Yeah, are you able to open it with Safari? Will that work, or one of the other browsers?
Okay, that's what happens.
Okay. Okay, and if you make this wider, maybe this is too narrow. Do we end up getting? Okay. Let's have a closer look at the code that we just wrote. D6. Yeah, that looks. Good to me. I wonder what is. When we try to do these live demos, there's always some little gotcha. Just for fun, let's try putting classes for small on there as well. So. Actually, you know what? We won't be able to see it. We might not be able to see it if it's. Why don't we make it 6 or something 6 or smaller? We wouldn't be able to see because 8 it would bump to the next line anyway.
All right.
Okay.
That. Changes.
Oh, this is still. We're sure that's the right file. That's That's what it would look like. I can show you the exact same thing on my machine, and what it's doing. I think are we sure that's the right? Are we sure we opened the right file?
Yeah, I mean the URL, like the file, like, it matches where mine is, so I think so.
Huh.
You could try changing some of the copy just to make sure you're editing the same file.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like where it says answer 1 or any of the text we can change.
Let's do to like answer like 5.
Yeah, how about something that's showing up on the screen? So like that, like where it says answer 1 on the far right. Yeah, there we go. That's showing up in the text of the button.
Let's say change it to like 5 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Sure enough. Huh.
so.
Okay. Well.
I just changed it back to 1, and now it's.
Something strange is going on there. Look at that. Let's see here.
Do the BRs do anything?
That's not a. I see what I see. Look very closely at the quotation. I could hardly even see it here, but look very closely at the quotation marks that you're using and the quotation marks that were already there.
Oh.
And they're not the same.
Should I change all the ones that weren't there?
You should change the. Yeah, so the quotation marks were broken, and that's probably a quirk of whatever text editor we're using. As you see the quotation marks, like the quotation mark that you just put after answer 1, that's not a quotation mark, or that's not the normal quotation mark. It's like slanted a little bit.
Oh, should I change it?
Let me get the straight ones. Yeah, and then all on the left side. Yeah, all of these same story. There we go. Always something like this when we try and when we do this live.
But this is good. I like this troubleshooting.
The far right. There we go. Great.
We should have
now let's try that.
These are useful troubleshooting exercises.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. Look at that. Now we haven't done anything with the width of these things, so they all look kind of small right now. But you can see we've got the column layout there.
Yeah.
Where 1 and 2 are on the first line, and 3 and 4 are on the bottom line. Now, really quick, because we're kind of running low on time, but let's do something about the width of those, so we can. So these input elements are the actual buttons that are kind of sitting inside the divs that we made 6 columns. So maybe we can have these kind of fill out and fill their sort of containing divs. So what if we gave those like a column width, like 8 or 10 columns?
Right here, do I add it?
It would be in the class. So these are all these sort of COL-SM- things. These are classes, and I would put an additional class on the input. So right now, where it says BTN and then BTN-default, let's add an additional class there to give this some width.
Class?
Yeah. Well, actually, what you were about to do was right. Where we're just gonna
enter it in.
Yeah. So when we're adding classes like this, you just put a space in between each class, and they're all kind of within the same quotation marks there. Right. So yeah, let's do another column thing, and how many ever columns you want.
Is it the same? Should I do the same one as I did before?
Sure, we could even do like an XS. How about we do an XS, and that way it'll, we can see how that works. And so XS dash, I don't know, something big like 10. Cool. All right, now let's have a look at that.
I just have to change the.
Oh, yeah, yep. Good call.
Oh, looks better.
Yeah, starting to, we can still do a little bit with the exact positioning, but that's starting to get there. Now, let's try making your browser window smaller, and let's see what happens.
Nice.
Now, see how they stack. That's what we call responsive.
Yeah.
It's because when David says he wants to show what he has, so we'll get over to David here in just a second, really quick. But that's because those classes were COL-SM-6 was the smallest one we had. We had small and medium, but we didn't have anything for extra small. So what Bootstrap does by default is extra small is always the entire row. For extra small, it always gives it the full row width, the full 12 columns. So it's 6 columns for the small screen, but then which is half the row, and then we squeeze it down, it becomes 12 columns. Thank you, Isla. That was great.
Before we pass the ball to David, is it possible to center this like hi there BIY? It adjusts when the screen width adjusts?
Yeah, and we'll
work on that next week.
Yeah, we can work on that next time.
Was the solution to put this in a div and center the div?
We would give it yes. In fact, I think what we can do with Bootstrap is we can make the containing div a specific class called container.
Great.
And that'll Bootstrap will center that for us.
Great. Okay. Hey, Isla, way to go.
Thanks.
Is this useful? Can you see how this is going to evolve, Isla?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, David, let's see what you got.
All right. I'm now the presenter. Cool. Okay. Here we go.
Whoa, look at this. Adjust the width of the screen, David. Nice. Yo. So David did everything that I was thinking. Changed the color and centered everything. Can you show us quickly the code? Where you put the color modifiers, David, and where you put the div class to center it?
Sure. Let me make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. But
yeah. Oh boy.
Okay.
Can't really read the white on black.
Oh.
It's all right. Are you guys having the same problem of reading the white on black?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is saved. Let me save it again. Code is code. No. Why did it open the actual?
Oh, I have that problem a lot. You gotta.
Okay.
If you go to the code in your file and say open with text editor, yep, open with. Yep. Try that. Ooh.
That's a little bit strange. Okay, how about I just copy my code into the chat box and then we can look at it from there. Well, all the stuff that really matters is just down here. So I'll just copy this. This is all that I edited anyways.
Uh-huh. If you copy that into
the chat.
A text editor. Okay, maybe we can read it from chat.
Actually, yeah, we might be able to. Yeah, hold on.
Yep, that works. That works best. Now we can read it.
I wonder if I can increase the.
Oh, we can read this, or I can anyway.
Okay.
So can you explain where you put the color and where you put the div that centers everything?
Okay. Well, so I basically created a whole new div that contained everything called answer box because I was going to make another div called image box, which would hold images for different areas of the game. But that's for another day.
Nice.
Then let's see, what else did I do? Give buttons colors and made it more responsive. So Bootstrap already comes with a bunch of preloaded button colors based under like danger, warning, success. But since we don't really have any danger, warning, success necessary things in terms of messages, I just kind of use them for their colors. So I have BTN danger, which is red, BTN info, which is like a light blue, warning, which is yellow, and success, which is green. So we have our 4 answers. I did a little bit of editing on the column mid, column XS stuff, where I changed the MD offset to 3 because if we're going to have them, if we're going to have 2 in the same row, then they kind of take up a bigger space, which means they need to be more to the left to be centered.
So then, rather than center everything, you just did an offset.
Right, which is sort of what Daniel had done initially, and we'll look at an easier way to do that next week. But yeah, that's cool. It works out.
Yep. And then I also added the column XS offset 4, which after some trial and error turned out to be the best centering. And then over here where we have the column MD4, and I added column XS6. So when it turns to the extra small, it gets a little bit more, takes a little bit more columns, which makes it look a little bit better. Added the values. And I also added some breaks, which are only visible if the screen size is smaller, so that it's stacked well.
I noticed one time that there were 2 breaks between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah.
I had 1 break. They like staggered instead of stacking. So
I see.
So that was a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, we can. This is. I think there are. Yeah. This is cool, and we have a few teaching moments here too for things that could be improved. So this is cool. So I think on the agenda for next week, we should let you guys go because it's after 10. So on the agenda, I think for Isla, we want to make sure we get a good development environment set up on Mac. So that'll make a world of difference for Isla there. And then we can look at and that'll be a good for learning experience for me too. About the different options for development environments on Mac, and then we can look at thank you, John. Then we can look at some of that code that David had there and take a closer look at how that works and maybe even find a couple ways to improve it. That was pretty cool. Great.
If you'd like to, let's start adding some questions in there. Maybe make a list of 10 questions. See if you can add those into your file. So, Jacob, thank you. David and Ilis, see you next week.
All right.
I
To be
think
continued.
So, yeah.
All right. Jacob, I found this really useful. I think this is great what we're doing here. This really